yes, it still goes.
Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil. Welcome along to Midlife Motors, and hooray, we're back from Lanzarote. And good news is I've got a day off today. Now, whilst I was away, I started thinking about one of the cars that isn't here, the SLK. Do I want to keep it? Do I really need it? Now, I think if you remember, way back end of last year, I was getting work done on the house, and I wanted to get rid of the car because it was in the way. I needed some storage in the garage, that sort of thing. Now, we're getting there with the house. It's almost done. Last job really is the fit out of the garage itself. So we're getting there. But I haven't even seen the car since, crikey, when did we put it away? Beginning of December. So it's the 25th of May now. So over 6 months. I haven't seen it. It hasn't turned a wheel. I haven't even started it. So I'm beginning to wonder, do I really need it? I think the best way to answer that question is to jump in this thing and get up there and actually start it and take it out today. And either A, I'll think, yeah, maybe I should get rid of it, or B, I can get that crazy idea out of my head.
As we drive up there, why am I thinking about selling the one car I said I'd never sell? Well, there's a few reasons, and if I've got reasons, why aren't I just getting on and doing it? The reasons go roughly like this. As you'll have seen over the years, I mean, I've had the car since new, 2015, so it's 9 years old this year, and I've only done 10,000 miles. I just don't drive the thing. And I'm on one of the roads that I would normally drive on up here on the west coast of Scotland, and I find myself going out for drives on these tight, narrow, coastal, scenic roads. And we've got an MX-5. And this is what this car is perfect for. The SLK, as great as it is, just you can't enjoy these roads as much. Add to that the fact that it's quite fast, the SLK, but it's not actually. We've now got an i4 M50 in the family. Electric, yes, I know, sacrilege. But if you want to go fast, forget V8s, forget ICE engine cars particularly. And I'm also at that age now where when I drive around, okay, people go on about there's no soul in an electric car, you don't have the V8 noise, but I'll be honest with you, I'm over 50 now. I don't really want to make a noise. I just want to be out in my car enjoying it. I also like this car. I think one of the reasons I use this car a lot is because it's a Targa roof. It's not a full soft top. And I think as you get a little bit older, you don't really want to be seen. You just want to enjoy the wind in the hair. You want to enjoy your drive, but that's it. You don't want to be involved with other people. I don't want people watching me. I just want to enjoy my car. There's another one though. I've always loved, the one car I've always thought if I ever moved on, AMG GT. And it's now getting within touching distance. So should I just shut up, get it sold, and get on with things?
Then I get here and I see the silhouette, even just with the cover on, the pipe sticking out the back. Things in my head start to change. Let's get the car out. Let's run through the reasons why it's still here, because they're quite important. Well, you just look at it. I mean, this is I know the camera doesn't like these fluorescent lights, but under this light it just looks fantastic. It's quite a special car, this, and it does, strangely it feels special to be around. I know that sounds a little bit mad, but in the way that the Boxster just didn't, I mean, and everything's so, this was built well. I mean, look at these wheels, diamond cut wheels, 9 years old, not a mark on them. You'll hardly see a stone chip on this car, and other cars that cost much more, they can't offer you there's a quality and a class to this car it's quite hard to explain, but it does get underneath your skin. And then, cracky, look, I've just noticed it's looking at itself in the mirror. You're a bit vain, car. And then when we do this and we remember that, I'm excited about starting it up. Taking that out of there wasn't the most fun drive I've ever had.
That's better. We've got a few miles under our belt. Everything seems to have warmed up and loosened off, which is good. A few things just to remember about this car. Cheap to run, really cheap to run, faultlessly reliable. Telling me it needs a service. I'll get that booked in shortly. It'll sit. I know a lot of cars don't like getting sitting around and not using, but this car does sit a lot just because of the way I've treated it, and it'll just fire up and away you go. There's no issues. Okay, you might have to do a couple of miles, like I say, to warm it up and ease things off, so that's good too. But look, it's all smoothened out now. We're going along quietly. Lovely. I press the brakes and nothing behind us. Press the brakes, just come into a nice gentle straight stop. So that's all good. Crack on. The main reason that I have an attachment to this car is quite emotional. Now, when I bought this car all those years ago, I was going through a pretty shit time in my life. A lot of people that were quite close to me let me down, and things just weren't panning out right. So it represents a point in my life where I needed a bit of a boost. I needed a little bit of a pick-me-up, and this car provided that, and it stuck with me. I know it's only a lump of metal, but if you know, you know. And I bought this car new. I think I've said that before. And it feels like it's mine. It's nobody else's. Nobody else should have this car, if that makes sense. I take a lot of satisfaction from knowing the fact that only 2 or 3 people really have actually even driven this car. So that's why it's got a massive sentimental value. And when people ask me why I still have it and don't use it, I mean, I was just looking at the mileage now. It's not done 10,000 miles. It's done 8,450, which is just ridiculously low. But this car is a part of me. It got me through a really tough time in my life. And whenever, crikey, I'm getting a bit emotional now. Whenever I need a little bit of a pick-me-up, if this car's sitting in the garage, I'll just go into the garage and sit in it. And do you know what? I hit my crisis point when I bought this car. I was at the lowest ebb I've ever been at, and it was the start of my journey back up. And for that reason, it's more than just metal and engine, and I don't know what these are worth now. Would this car be worth 30 grand? I mean, what can you buy for £30,000? An Astra? So yeah, good car. Good car. Going back to our well-built theme, which I know some people may or may not agree with, but not a rattle, not a single rattle from this car. They screwed these things. AMG built these things well. I don't care what any journalist says. This is a well-built car. I think there's a moral to today's story, and I think it is with this car, and I think that is you've actually got to try one of these. You've got to forget all the misconceptions. You've got to forget what the press said. You've got to forget what the motoring journalists who, oh well, we know everything, and you've got to forget that they thought A, B, C and D was better, because I think in the long run it's beginning to get proven that wasn't maybe the case. And when you get in this car, there's just something about it. There's just something that Mercedes AMG, whoever it may be, did that just made this car quite special. Not just to drive, but the whole ownership experience. And I forget, even as an owner, I think I forget that when I don't use the car. So yeah, do yourself a favor, just drive one. Tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right. But from where I'm sitting just now, this car feels very, very right. End of dilemma.
Finishing off then with both cars behind me, one capital F for fun, the other probably a bit more stylish, a bit more classy and thunderous performance. And I think what we have to reflect on, really, sometimes you've got to go against YouTube convention a little bit, and sometimes just take 5 and be content in what you've got. I mean, both of these cars offer different things, but they're very affordable to the average person, to the likes of you and I. And I don't think you always have to be chasing the next best thing, the greatest thing. You don't have to get up every morning and think, right, today I must do much better than yesterday. Sometimes you can just take 5 and enjoy where you've got to in life and what you've got. And I think that's probably what I need to do right now. And just enjoy these cars and take them out and drive them. So with that in mind, we'll get, where am I pointing here? I'm back to front. We'll get this one serviced, we'll get it out on the road, and we'll do another video on it, because we need to get this up to 10,000 miles. It's kind of ridiculous where we're at. Thanks very much for watching this one. I shall see you again soon. Oh, please give us a like, please hit subscribe. I know it was a bit of a clickbait thumbnail, but I think most people probably figured out what it was all about. Goodbye.
Maybe that i4 M50 ain't quite as fast.